Shalom, giving all praise to Yahawah, Qadash, Shalom to the 144,000 and hopeful elect out there. On the rest of the elect, Shalom to you all. Anyway, this shouldn't be too long of a video, but I'm going to entitle this video, The Bantu People and the People of Igbo. Some people say Igbo, are Israelites. And you have some writers and scholars that say the Igbo is a funny way of saying Hebrew. So here's an article right here. So what I did was I typed in the Bantu people speak Hebrew. So here's an article that popped up among many. So, so let me click on this article right here. So I'm gonna read. So I'm not gonna read the whole article, but it's nice and long. Anyway, it says here, the Bantu. Oh, I remember years ago, this was maybe 2018. Could be 2017, 2019. It was long before the ragamuffin. Y'all know what I mean by that, with the jump shot. Anyway, might have been 2017. Vocab Malone had did a video, and he had said, you guys are not the Israelites. He said, why don't you just, how about maybe y'all the Bantu people? So I did a little research on the Bantu people, and it connected me to, Hebrew, being Hebrews, that they spoke Hebrew. Now, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me do this here. Okay, so this is GMS Tanzania. Well, shalom to the brother out there. And he comes on my comment, puts comments on my page and so forth. So he actually lives in Tanzania. He identifies himself as being an Israelite. So in this video, I mentioned, this is the video, the interview that Bishop Nathaniel did in South Africa with the bishop. I forget the guy's name, but he's famous out there in Africa, especially South Africa. And it was a part two. I was watching some of it. I said it was a complete waste of time. It didn't go nowhere. It didn't go nowhere because the guy, he so-called commanded the interview. He likes to talk, and they were talking about things not really in the scriptures. Bishop Nathaniel was trying to get into the scriptural thing, but this guy was looking at things more of a political, the people coming together, building a community. So it didn't register with this guy at all. It didn't register with this guy at all. So when I made the comment that, we're the Israelites and we spoke Hebrew, I think I actually mentioned the Bantu people actually speak Hebrew. When they greet each other, they say shalama. Now there was a video that a Jake chick from America, I guess she's visited the West Africa. She went among the Bantu people, and she made a video. She said that when they greet each other, they say shalama. Then she had a couple other words that were actual Hebrew that the Bantu people speak. All right, so the brother put the comment in mayim or mayim is water. That's Hebrew for water. The word water in the Hebrew is mayam. The word heaven or heavens is the word shamayim. The prefix shah pretty much is like pertaining to waters. So the word heaven, shamayim, is actually pertaining to waters or waters. And then he also puts in salah, right? Salah. She said salama instead of shalama. She said salama. That's peace. So this man from Tanzania, so he lives in the African continent. So I'll do a little bit of reading on this article. I'll leave the link in the description box. It said the Bantu languages are dialects of ancient Hebrew. Now you could say, well, we don't know who the writer of this article is, and they just making it up. Okay, well, it's there. You know, somebody's talking about, you know, the people of mainly West Africa, Israelites, or the descendants of Israelites. It even speaks about 70 AD, which is down here. Like I said, I'm not going to read the whole. It's a nice long article. I'm right about here. In the days of the apostles, Jews around the world still understand and spoke Hebrew by evidence of Thomas in India singing a song in Hebrew. So you had Israelites in India that only he and a Hebrew woman there could understand, since it was her language as well. So this is the book of Acts of Thomas, which is not a part of the original scriptures. So, you know, we don't know how accurate this is, but it could be part of the history. After the scattering of the Hebrews, when Jerusalem was sacked in 70 AD, they continued to speak Hebrew by evidence of John, who had wrote Revelations after that time, still speaking and understanding Hebrew. So that's Revelation 16 and 16. Since those times, the Hebrews who inhabited Judah that fled into Africa, this is what the writer is saying, continue to have influence on their already influenced language. They continue to see colonization and captivity under the Arabs, Ishmaelites, and Edom or Edomites. And we know who the Ishmaelites are. We know who the Edomites are. By the way, vocab says, well, the Edomites are done away with. That's his answer to the Edomites. So you don't got to worry about it. Not the Edomites. Name me one Edomite that after 70 AD. Well, I can name you a whole bunch of them. I can mention the whole Herodian family, because they were the ones that defeated remember, 70 AD, when the Romans sacked it, it was also the personal army of the Herodian dynasty that attacked them too. So guess what? They were fighting on the side of the Romans. That was really their war. They wanted to destroy the Israelites. But mainly it was Rome because they wanted the money. They was taxing the hell out of them when they defeated them, and they fled and they killed the ones that stayed. They sacked the treasury, which is part of the temple, and that's the fulfillment of when the abomination that maketh desolate enters in, then flee ye to the mountains. The abomination that maketh desolate, the abomination are the Edomites, because they had no Romans, they had no business going into the temple. And that was under the command of Titus. I always go into this, the son of Vespasian. They took the money. The younger brother, Domitian, had and by the way, Domitian was the last Edomite Roman ruler. After that, you had all Jake rule Rome. Didn't start with no Septimius Severus in 193 AD. So he had built a honorary arch to his brother, and on that arch you see arc or arch, however you pronounce it. Arc is the correct word. Anyway, you have like an arc welding. It's called arc welding, and when you use the welding gun, you see like a strike of like lightning or whatever, light that forms an arc. As a result of these captivities, there are different accents among the Hebrew speakers, and you'll find the mixture of Arabic words, which Arabic Ishmaelites, they originally spoke Hebrew, words and Hebrew words being spoken amongst the Hebrew speakers now known as the Bantu people of Africa. East and South Africa Bantus, Hebrew tribes have more of an Arabic influence due to the East African slave trade. And remember, the Arabic is a form of Hebrew. Instead of saying Abba for father, they'll say Abu. Instead of saying Bun for son, they'll say Ibn. Or instead of saying, they'll say Salam instead of Shalom or Shalom. Slave trade. So you'll find more Arabic words in their language. So not every alleged Bantu word found in the Bantu dialects today of those in East and South Africa, African regions are actually ancient Hebrew, right? Because you got the JJs that speak a different dialect of Hebrew, because when you listen to them, you can pick up words. And by the way, High Priest Ariah was able to speak to them, and especially Shalimar, the brother named Shalimar. He can actually hold a full-on conversation with a small hat. Ariah could do too. I did know some too. I was able to understand a lot of their words, but it was the brother Shalimar. He can speak fluent ancient Lashawan Qadash. Then he can turn around and speak to a JJ and have a conversation. He can write their language, because I think his parents, I'm almost positive his parents, he came up as a child, so he already knew the Hebrew. So he picked up, he shot past Ariah. Ariah was a teacher. He became like the top Hebrew teacher in Israel. Some words are actually Arabic words, which are Hebrew. Arabic came from Hebrew because the Ishmaelites were Hebrews that they picked up over time, while others are truly ancient Hebrew words. Also in West Africa, most of the Israelites are, and you got Israelites in East and North Africa. That's one of the places we fled to, the continent of Africa. Not every alleged Bantu word is ancient Hebrew in origin, since they're already been influenced by the Chaldean words of old and recently made up words to accommodate the new English language, right? English is a bastard language, a bastard tongue. The pure language of the earth is the Hebrew. Inside joke. They came into, the English is a mixture of German, Latin, and some words are in the Hebrew, like sabbatical. Contact with like computer for computer. You'll also find the natural changes that, like the small hats, they'll say for television is what is it? C box, which is I forget how you say box. I believe it's Taba, Ra'ataba, C box. But they'll say television, but with a like a sort of a Hebrew uh, dialect. So some of those Hebrew words, the JJs, are like English words that they kind of, when they would speak it, it'll be in their dialect or accent. A time with languages called Semitic drift. Look that up, wherein the meaning of the words undergo a shift in meaning due to its usage in everyday conversation. Hence, you'll find ancient Hebrew root words have meanings that may not have had in ancient times through usage among the people. Yeah, because they do mention, let me do this. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of information, a lot of solid information. The Bantu languages are dialects of ancient Hebrew. The root language of the Bantu dialects is the Igbo, which means Hebrews, a language of Nigeria, which is least affected by foreign influence among the Bantu dialects. Bantu dialects is Hebrew, Salama, Mayin. The Igbo dialect being and then of course you had the Bantu speaking, the various Africans, which are Israelites, in the various regions of the continent of Africa, their dialects were a little different. Like here in America, you got our people that live down south, and they'll use words that Jacob here in the north don't understand. Got my people, my family for the most part are from the south. I had a lot of friends from the south, so when they speak, and then even in the south and the Midwest, you got various different dialects of the southern. They call it the southern drawl. The Igbo dialect being the source of Bantu dialect of the Bantu dialect is why the ancient Hebrew root words are predominantly seen in the Igbo dialect as opposed to the other Bantu dialects, which have been more affected from migration and colonization when the other nations took over these people, ultimately the slave trade. Remember, when the slaves came up, the black African slaves, so to speak, came over here, the language that they spoke was Hebrew. Now in the movie Roots, they were saying that they spoke Arabic, which, I mean, Arabic is a dialect of Hebrew. Remember, Arabic, the Ishmaelites spoke Arabic, which the Ishmaelites are Hebrews, first son of Abraham. The Hebrew language has been affected by captivity and migration since the days of judgment, wherein you find different tribal accents among Ephraim and Manasseh. Judges 12, verse 6. And I already know what that is. Judges 12 and 6. See if this comes up. Judges 12:6. Then said they unto him, say now, Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth, for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him and slew him at the passage of Jordan, and there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000. You know what I got to do? Let me come up here. I'll start the first verse. Then I'll close. And the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and went northward and said unto Jabbatha, wherefore passest thou over to fight against the children of Ammon? We know who the Ammonites are. And did not call us to go with thee. We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, which were Ephraimites, ye delivered me not out of their hands. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me do this here. It's a Yapathak. Yapathak. Yapathak means to open, and Yah means he. He opens. A son of Gilead and a concubine and judge who defeated the Ammonites. So we're in Judges 12. After the victory, because of a vow taken before the battle, he sacrificed his daughter as a burnt offering. So he went off. Ain't that a bitch? A city in Judah. Let's come back over here. Where am I? Okay, let me come back. Okay, and Jabbath said unto them, the Ephraimites, I and my people were at great strife with the children or the sons of Ammon. And when I called you, he delivered me not out of their hands. And when I saw that they delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Ammon. And Yahawah delivered them unto my hand. Therefore, then are ye come up unto me this day to fight against me. But what the hell is wrong with you, Ephraimites? Then Yabathak, that's how you say it in Hebrew, he is open, but gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim, Aparium. We always talk about the battle against Benjamin. Well, you had Ephraim and you had other tribes fight each other, go to war with each other. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim. What kind of bullshit is this? And the Ephraimites, and among the Manassites, because they were neighbors to the Ephraimites, and the Gileadites. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they have to be Benjamin. The Gileadites are also Benjamin. Let's find out. Look up the word Gileadites. I'm positive they're Benjamin. Scripture said, prove all things. Gilead. Okay, then that's got to be the land of the Reubenites. Yeah, that's got to be the land of the Reubenites. Let me try this. See if this comes up. Okay, send you right back to Numbers 32. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle, and when they saw the land of Jazah and the land of Gilead, that behold, the place was a place for cattle. So the Gilead was possession of Reuben, because Reuben, Gad, was it Reuben, Gad, Manasseh, Reuben, Gad mainly. So that was Reuben, not Benjamin. Okay. So these were tribes fighting against each other. Fourth verse again. Jen Yapathach gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim, and the men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among Ephraim. So that's another example of the tribes going to war against each other, and among the Manassites, which were neighbors of Reuben. Those are the three. You had Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. Those are the three warrior tribes. Ephraim wasn't so much of a warrior tribe. and the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, "Let me go over," that the men of Gilead said unto them, "Art thou an Ephraimite?" If he said, "Nay," then said they unto him, "Say now," like if they say, "No, I'm not an Ephraimite." So they said, "Well, say," showing you that among the tribe there was different dialects. How many of y'all knew that? Then said they unto him, "Say now," and I'm gonna read in the Hebrew, Shibboleth, and he said, which was an Ephraimite, Sibboleth, for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Dialects. Then they took him and slew him at the passage of Jordan, and there fell out the time of the Ephraimites 40 and 2,000. So let me go into these. Let me go into the actual Hebrew. So let's look up this word, which is Shabalath. Let's see what that means. Shabalath. Flowing stream, air, head of grain, as growing cluster. Shabal. Flowing skirt, train. So Shabalath. Let's come back over here. Shabalath. They said, "Say Shabalath." Where is it? They said unto him, "Say now Shabalath." And he said, this is how he said it, Sabalath. Let's click on that. So I'm gonna test you Ephraimites. I'm gonna see if y'all really, I'm an Ephraimite. You might be a Simeonite. So say these two words. Just having a little fun. So they said Sabalath, which is an ear or grain of wheat, which is pretty much the same because it goes back to what? Shabalath. The pronunciation was different. Flowing stream, right? Shabal, which is like train. Something that flows, a river flows. So they knew that. They said, any of these people, we're going to see if they're Ephraim, but they're going to lie because they don't want to get put to death. So we're going to ask them to say this word. If they pronounce it the wrong way, they're Ephraimites, so kill them. So you did have, and then brothers, you know what's funny? I'm gonna tell you a little joke. Certain like the elder out of Chicago, the head out of Chicago, which is Malcolm. And like if he mentions Orion Blob's name, he won't say it right, and we kind of laugh at it, you know. We still love him, but it was, how do he say? He says, how does he say it? It's Orion Lob. He said Ryan Lob. I think he says Ryan Lob. I forget how he says it. It'll say Apostle Ryan Lob instead of Orion Lob. Lion's heart. He'll say Rayam Lab. I said, he'll say it different, but it's a dialect. Now, if you reminded him, he'll say it correct, of course, but he frames it different from out of his mouth. Okay, so could he be an Ephraimite instead of a Reubenite? We don't know, but he's an Israelite. So that shows you even certain brothers, they'll say Yahawah. They'll say a brother, the friend of the prophet. He'll say Yahawah by Hashem Yahawashi, but then when he recites the prayer, he'll say it wrong. He'll say he'll recite a prayer, he'll like a blessing to the Most High, but so when he recites the prayer, it's off. But that's all right because we know he can say it right because he opens up by saying Yahawah and Yahawashi. But then when he recites the prayer, he doesn't say it right. So it's practice, you know. But this proves to you that we had dialects, different dialects. And whether you say Shabalath or Sabalath, it both goes to the root word Shabal, which means flowing, like a stream flows. So anyway, I don't want to make this long. But here you have it. I'll leave the link in the description box. Right, because it says, from the influence of some Jews learning Chaldean during the Babylonian captivity. Now, I'm going to say this. A lot of, you got a lot of people, that woke up to Israel, they don't want to get into the Hebrew because we used to teach Hebrew. I used to put up Hebrew lessons, and Apostle Rayam Lab, Rayam Lab used to put up a lot of Hebrew videos, and Monagan, he still puts up Hebrew. And then when we put up like Hebrew videos, hardly nobody, you make a video on something and it'll be, over 1,000 views or whatever, 800 views, whatever the case may be. Then you put the Hebrew, do a Hebrew lesson, you might get 50 views. Because nobody wants to be disciplined enough to really learn that Hebrew. So a lot of times brothers will come to us, mostly brothers, and they'll say, could you break this down, break that down? Because they don't want to go through the reading and going into this word, then going to the root word. And see, that's why, my belief is the leader of the IUIC, he dismisses the Hebrew because it's you can't be lazy with the Hebrew. There's a lot of work going into the Hebrew, going into root words. And so his thing was, and like you can go 20 plus years, he did the video breaking down the name of Yahawah and Yahawashi, along with BANYAMAN. Now, if you go to the Hebrew, it says this. Now, if you go to this book and see a scholar, he quoted the Hebrew too. So that's the way you say, because he was thinking like a scholar. So he dismissed the whole Hebrew. He really don't know the Hebrew because he was lazy when it came to the Hebrew. And that's a fact. Because every once in a while he'll play with the Hebrew. He'll say something bad about the Hebrew, like a nigga jump up and say Yahawah, or he'll say like they'll say they want to make a doctrine out of the Hebrew. No, the Hebrew is part of the doctrine. If you really want to get into these scriptures, you got to think like a scholar. You got to go into the Hebrew word, into the Greek word. So he doesn't want to do that. So he's not sure whether the name is the way you pronounce the name is Yahawah and Yahawashi. So he said, well, we ain't going to pronounce that word. We're going to say Most High in Christ. They're lazy. They're lazy. The scriptures speak about the followers follow leader. I went through that the other day. I can't believe I can't think of it. not going to try to. I went through it the other day. Is it? I know it's the 12th verse. Oh, let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. And I just went through it. Okay, let me do it this way. Bear me for a minute. I'm incognito right now, so you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so let me do this. Um, bear me for a minute. Bear me for a minute here. Let this thing come up. What the hell happened? Okay, 29 and 12. I knew it was in the 12th verse. I knew it was in Proverbs, but I wasn't sure what the chapter was. And I went through it. Yeah, I think I did it on the video. So let me do this. Bring this up. I'm gonna read it in the come back over here. I'll go to the blue letter. Yeah, bottom line is Bishop Nathaniel became lazy. And he's trying to get back into it. That's why the 2023 Passover, he came in on a horse, and the name was put out there, General Nathaniel God. That's what we used to call him. General, not Nathaniel, but Nathaniel God. That was the name that was given to him. He was a third Nathaniel, so to speak. So he's gotten old and lazy. He doesn't want to research. That's why he doesn't know all the scriptures, and that's just a fact. He couldn't break down Daniel 11th chapter if his life depended upon it, and he knows that, and he's mad. He hates us. You hate me. If a ruler hearken to lies, all his servants are wicked. So that whole IUIC group are a bunch of wicked Negroes. Now, are they elect? I hope there are. It says, if a ruler hearken to lies. You don't got to look up the word lie. If he says that the new moon is a full moon, that's a lie. If he says that, what else did he say? Oh, you can only have one wife on this side. If you have an extra wife, that's fornication, that's adultery, which is another lie. The lake of fire is a burning pit of eternal spiritual hell. The 2/3 of Israel are going to sleep for 1,000 years. Then when they wake up, they're going to be dumped right into hell. That is a lie. Septimius Severus became the first Israelite Roman Caesar or emperor in 193 AD. That is a lie. The MOTB, or the mark of the you know what, is sin in all of its forms, whether it be political or religious. that is another lie. So that shows you that whole group, the IUIC, are wicked. They're wicked people. It says if a ruler, he's a ruler, right? He came in on a horse. Somebody, you at an event, somebody coming on a horse, he must run shit, right? If a ruler hearken to lies, he's listening to lies. All his servants, his followers, are wicked. So one of the brothers said, the Levite brother said, Bishop Nate's spirit is in all your spirit. Well, what spirit is he in? He's in a spirit of lies. So all of y'all a bunch of liars, man. And like I said, that group is going to be broken up. That group is going to be broken up. And if there's any of the elect in there, they're going to come out of there. And I hope there is. I damn sure hope there is. Okay, I was going to go. Oh, let me go to the NLT. See what the NLT says. If a ruler pays attention to lies, all his advisors will be wicked. Let me try that. NIV. NIV. If a ruler listens to lies, all officials become wicked because they're following him. Let's try it in the let's see where else we can go. Let's go to Revised Standard Version. If a ruler listens to falsehoods, all his officials will be wicked. So you're following a wicked guy because he follows lies. And he can't say, well, if the Most High, the Most High did show you through GMS. So you keeping them lies going. And the charagma, the MOTB, when it fully comes to pass, it's going to hit you right in the face. And we're going to see what your followers are going to do. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.